back, and thank you so much for listening to Nella-Joi Nation, the nation's #1 radio show, sharing news for and about the nation's disability community. My name is Norma Stanley, and we are speaking today with Ms. Barbara Glover and Ms. Dorothy Dunbar, both mothers of adult children with disabilities, both disability advocates, and both who have had experiences when it comes to guardianship. Ms. Glover has her own company called E.Y.A.A.M and exceptional youth. I forget what it stands for, but she can tell you again. Young adults. And then we have Ms. Barbara Glover, whose adult son had some issues a couple of years ago with the church, as you know, and then being taken away from her. So Ms. Dunbar, you were sharing about them separating you and your son being in jail for 3 months as a result of the church not wanting to deal with his disability and keep having him arrested.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I am just amazed.
Well, yes, I was totally shocked at the outcome and how they was really trying to push forward with the case against my son for aggravated stalking. It had went from criminal trespassing to aggravated stalking. That's what the church had pressed charges on my son. They called it stalking.
Oh my God. Okay. And so, what was the process once you got him out of jail? I mean, it just breaks my heart.
Oh Lord, he was away from me for over a year. He was gone from me for a whole year and a half. With no communication. They didn't allow, I couldn't, they took him from, after they broke his arm in jail. He had to have emergency surgery. Miss Glover and I had went up to the jail to actually see my son. He was in a casket all the way from his shoulders all the way down. His fingertips were swollen. They wouldn't let him out. They wouldn't do no investigation. And because I have a big mouth, and because I speak up for my son, because I have that's my son. I'm an advocate. So because I speak up for my son, they looked at it like I was causing problems. Every time my son would go back to his cell, he became agitated because of me. And I said, no, it's because he wants to come home. That's why he's agitated. He didn't do anything.
Wow.
I had a public defender who said she was going to help me out. I tried to present her my son's IEP, his psych evaluation, that he has autism. She told me, oh, no, don't worry about that. They're going to let him go. You don't need it. That's what she said. But then I'm noticing that they wasn't letting him go. And I'm like, what is going on? Because I'm noticing he's still here. Day by day, he was still in jail. And me and Miss Glover went to the district attorney's office. We even took his papers to the district attorney to let the district attorney know, hey, he doesn't understand. He don't know what's going on. He don't feel he done anything wrong. He's only walking. He's only going to this church that he feels he's welcome, that he's been going here. He's only going to church. He don't go there. I said he didn't go up there with a gun. He didn't have a gun, knife, bat. He didn't come up there with no weapon. All he went up there with was a smile on his face, because all he do is smile. And they took him and they locked him up. They act like they was going to help. They was no help at all. They was trying to really prosecute him. So finally, I was going up there to visit him. I get a phone call that my son wasn't there. He wasn't in the jail no more. They wouldn't tell me where they placed him at. I said, where's my son? Because I didn't have, let me go back. Somehow the public defender got wind of, I don't have guardianship. She was working with me at the beginning. She didn't know nothing about this guardianship. She was saying, oh, no, they can't do that to him. They can't do that to him. She was, at first, on my side. Then she got wind of these people from the church and all of their people who started getting in her ear. Then she's cut off all her communication with me. Then she wanted to tell me, you don't have guardianship. I don't have to speak with you.
Oh, my God.
She said, right. I said, well, I have papers in the court. I said, my guardianship papers are in the court because I have filed. I said, so my papers are in the court, so I'm filing. I said, he's been with me since he was a baby, ma'am. I birthed him. That's my son. This is an unfortunate situation here. And she cut off all communication with me, his public defender did. From that day forward, no communication. I was emailing her, calling her office, emailing, calling her. She told me, I don't have to speak with you. Your son did not give me permission to speak with you. And basically don't call me no more. Yep. Yes, ma'am. And
so all
because I didn't have
able to help. Yeah. By getting guardianship, what happened so once you could not reach your son and the lawyer who was supposed to have been there
I had to end up hiring I'm sorry. I hired a lawyer just like you did. I hired a lawyer, to help me out. And, a lawyer, he looked into it, and he was a lawyer in another county. Mm-hmm. So he kept telling me something does not seem right here. Why are they doing this? This just don't seem normal. He doesn't know what's going on. He didn't stalk anybody, because when I asked the public defender who was my son stalking, he told me he was stalking the church. And I said, well, the church is a building. Now, where are the statements from anybody in the church that said my son stalked them? So when it took a whole year, a year and a half, me and Miss Glover, I even went to court with this bond over me. I still took my chances and went to guardianship court with this bond over my head. So because the bond said that they made my son sign a bond that if he wanted to get out of jail, he would not have no communication with me. He couldn't call me. He couldn't talk to me. So all he knew was get out of jail. He didn't understand the rest. All he said was, I want to go home. So they told him to sign a piece of paper because I didn't have guardianship. Because I didn't have guardianship, they took over my son.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they took him away from me and disconnected him from everybody in the family, his brothers, his dad, his aunties.
Legal.
It wasn't legal.
Yeah. So
because I was calling autism awareness. I was calling different organizations, explaining to them. I'm starting to get emotional again. I was calling different organizations. I was calling autism awareness. I was ringing people's phones off the hook between me and Miss Glover, just calling people. And the organizations was telling me they were going to help me. But when I gave them the information to the public defender made it seem like it was this big old case that they was prosecuting, so they backed away from it because they didn't know, so they backed away from the case, from helping me. And when I was saying, no, it's not like that. That's not what happened. Please listen to me. Please, let me tell you the story. Nobody wanted to hear it. I couldn't tell my story to nobody.
I wish I had known you then, because I would have blasted all over the media. But anyway, okay, so how did it end when you found a year and a half without your child because the system failed?
Right.
The system
So
failed and the church failed you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Both failed. Both. Even when I went to the church to try to help, Miss Glover had reached out as well to them for, hey, listen, y'all know that this young man has autism. What are y'all doing? She reached out to them on several occasions, and the outcome was still the same. They didn't care. They're going forth with these charges on my son. So, to make a long story short, the place that had my son was trying to get guardianship over him as well. The lady that had my son, she wanted my son, right. They came to court with his E.Y.A.A.M, which is the court-appointed attorney that they give to my son. They came to court. We went to court, me and Miss Glover and a couple of my family members, my son, and he told the judge she would be the better guardian than me. They loved my son and all this other stuff, and but thank God I had a judge that seen through something.
Thank you, Laura.
Judge that I had, I thank God for this judge. He was saying to himself, something is not right here. Something don't sound right. And he put the case on hold. But because the case stayed on hold.
We got to take one more break. We got to take the last break, and we're going to finish up. This is amazing, and we're going to definitely follow up on this story because it's just too awesome, and I'm just so thankful that it worked out in your favor and your son's favor. But we got to take a break really quickly and come on back. But we're going to be back listening and talking with Miss Dorothy Dunbar and Miss Barbara Glover on how important it is to have guardianship for our children with disabilities by the time they get a certain age, because the system will fail them and they can actually take our children away. So we're going to be back and explore a little bit more in the last segment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. You've been listening to Nella-Joi Nation, and we've been speaking with two amazing women, Miss Barbara Glover, who is the founder of E.Y.A.A.M, an organization. She works as a coach and a business owner who shares and helps families with young adults with disabilities to make sure they get their guardianship. And then we've also been speaking with Miss I'm messing up your name, Dorothy Dunbar, who is the mother of an adult who had to go get guardianship for her son, and who went through just an incredible, painful process prior to having to get that done, and because they had taken her child away from her, because she's thinking just as the parent that she had rights, but she really didn't. Once your child becomes a certain age, those rights as a parent are taken away from you, and your children are left exposed to a system that doesn't really care about our family the way they should. So we're going to go back to Barbara for a minute. And Barbara, so how was that experience as you helped her to get her son's guardianship? As the person who helped her go through this, what did that do to you? We don't have a lot of time in this segment, but, I'm sure it helped realize how important this was.
Well, yes, it did, because one of the reasons I actually went full throttle into this was due to the fact what Dorothy was going through.
Wow.
I just saw the need greater than I could even imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
At that time, it was overwhelming to me that a parent had to go through that. You know what I'm saying? It was one just thinking, okay, well, they turned 18, they got to have guardianship, let's go do it. It was another to see a mother suffering, trying to get her child out of jail, trying to see his medical conditions, not being able to contact. Oh my God, it was just mind blowing. But me and her stood the long haul. We prayed together. We, fought every which way we could to make things happen. And by the grace of God and her perseverance, with knowing that God had the situation at hand, turned around, it fell into her favor. And we were able to go back to the court and receive guardianship. She received guardianship for her son, and he came home with her. And that's just making it short and clear. But, it really pushed me more and more to make this a full-time, not just business, but an advocate to get out here and speak it loud and clear. Parents, caregivers, families, your child, if they're incapacitated, a young adult, you need to have guardianship over them when they are unable to take care of themselves, because it only takes a minute, a second for something to happen, and you lose all control.
Wow. And so, just so, because time goes so fast, tell people how they can reach you to get information about guardianship.
Yes. Again, my company is E.Y.A.A.M, E.Y.A.A.M, LLC. You can reach me at 678-368-0040, or you can email me at EYAAM404@gmail.com. I'm always there to answer the phone or get to you. And if you just have questions that you need to know, please contact me, because there's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misinformation that is out there about guardianship. And I guarantee you that I'm going to give you the best knowledge available.
And one of the things people need to understand is it's actually not as expensive as people think.
It's not. And I would like people to give me a call so that I can explain that to them, because there's things that your fees for the court is not expensive as well. They have a thing called a pauper's waiver that can waive your fees if you qualify for it. And I personally take my clients through that if they're eligible.
Right. Wow. And Dorothy, so you and your son, how's your son doing after that ordeal that you both went through as a family?
He's doing well now. He's home. And he's back into the swing of things with his family here. He missed everybody and told me all his experiences. So, yeah. He of course he has some questions. Why did I leave him? Why'd you leave me? Yeah, of course he had questions. Right. Why did why'd they come and take him from the jail when he thought he was coming home with me? So these are the things that they told him, So, but other than that, he's doing much better.
Yeah,
he's doing much better.
And that's one of the things, again, with this particular show, Nella-Joi Nation, there's so many supposed resources out there for our family members, but there's too many families falling through the cracks. There's too many things that are happening to our families that the mainstream media just does not pay attention to. And unless you actually going through it yourself, you wouldn't be even sensitized to know that that's not right. I mean, just even with this whole COVID-19 situation, I mean, the things that are really impacting families like ourselves, it's a different thing from what typical families are having to deal with. And so, the goal of this show is to really just be able to tell not just the achievements. So there are a lot of achievements and accomplishments that people in this community are experiencing and that nobody's still really talking about, unless you're a well-known celebrity or something. But there's a lot of issues and challenges that we face on a daily basis, and this is just your story alone is an example. Like I said, I didn't know. I'm thinking I had guardianship over my own child all this time, and I didn't. So I thank you, ladies, for sharing your experiences and what you do with our listening audience. We've been speaking with Miss Barbara Glover and Miss Dorothy Dunbar about guardianship and how important it is to have our families protected, our loved ones protected, and not exposed to the supposed elements because they're less vulnerable when we don't put those things in place for our individuals with disabilities who can't take care of themselves. They can't make these decisions themselves. And unfortunately, there's an element out there, they just don't care about our family members the way they should. And so we need to make sure that all these things are put in place for our family members. And so,
yes.
I thank you guys for being on the show. Yeah.
Sure. Can I say something real quick, Norma? Right now, because I've contacted some of the county, the courthouses to see how we're going about filing, with all this COVID-19 going on. So if a parent would like to call me directly to have papers filed or how to go about it, I'm more than willing to let them know that the court is receiving it through the mail. So we can mail it in and get our information back, as well as there's not an online process. Okay,
but there is a court process. You have to mail the information out.
Yes, because they also want their fees mailed in with it. But like I said, there are ways that we can work with that. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that information. Again, you've been listening to Nella-Joi Nation, and we thank you for listening this week. And come back and check out one of our shows coming up on the next Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We are disability advocates. We're here to tell the stories about the disability community. And, if you get a moment, check out my CD, Nella-Joi Next Chapter. $1 of each CD sold goes to help nonprofits within the disability community. And we thank you for listening to our show this Saturday, and we look forward to you joining next time on Nella-Joi Nation. You have a blessed week. Bye-bye.